this episode of Home Shop Swap Garage. The team is ready to start customizing the new Fiero, but first, it's out with the old to make room for the new. The goal for the team is to get the new engine in and running by the end of the episode. There is no time to waste if they want to accomplish that. Before they install the new engine, they will have to convert the car from a manual transmission to an automatic, so they have a lot to accomplish, and only in 30 minutes. Can they do it? Is this really the only cameo for Tech Guy? Will it go as planned? Find out on this episode of Home Shop Swap Garage.
Hello, welcome to episode 5. After a short break from taking apart the blue car and getting all that put away, we are finally starting on the new car. Now this is a 5-speed with a 2.8 liter that's actually been bored over to a 3.1. Nice engine, runs pretty good. Would be worth keeping in the car, but I think we're going to go a little bit more than that. So we're going to take that out and we're going to put our Supercharged 3800 in. Interior guy is on his way over, and when he gets here he's going to help with the automatic conversion process. So we'll do one last test start and then jump in. Alright, let's listen to this engine in this car for the last time. That's nice. Alright. Be a good car the way it is, but we're going to make it better. Stay tuned and see what's coming. Alright, we got the engines out, as you can see, and I've also dropped the fuel tank off camera. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to clean up the engine compartment. Interior guy should be here any minute. He'll help me work on the interior and getting that set up for the automatic conversion. So in the meantime, let's work on cleaning up our engine compartment. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of clean up the engine compartment. We're going to take out some of the lines that we don't need and clean up the engine bay. I'm going to take this fiberglass insulation out. It's 30 years old. It's actually probably counterproductive at this point. It's holding in the heat, it's holding in the grease, the oil, the grime, and it just looks terrible. So we're going to replace that and make it awesome. Alright, now we're going to get the insulation out, and I'm going to try and take it out without damaging it too much because I want to use it as a template for the new insulation. So we'll see how well we can get this out. And I'm going to wear gloves because I don't want to mess with fiberglass. Wow, here we are. Episode 6. This is exciting. This is where it's all coming back together. Hey, interior guy, what's up? Why don't you dive right on in and we can start tearing out the manual transmission parts, and you can work on getting the automatic components put in, and okay, we'll go from there. Sounds good. Let's do it. Thank you. Wow, 2 engines. This is going to be fun to get in the car. We're gonna do it. So, Dukes of Hazzard. All right. There you go. Can you get it? All right. That's one. Alright, I'm going to get some tools and then start on the interior. Hydraulic system, gone. Boom. Cruise control, not needed. Boom. Alright, I got the engine bay all cleaned up. I sprayed it with some brake cleaner, kind of got the grease and grime out. So next step, we're going to do some rust fix by Duplicolor to kind of take care of some of the rust issues in the car and hopefully make sure there's no rust issues in the future. Then after that, we'll start hitting it with some good color. Alright, so I got a tub sitting here that I'm going to use as a catch-all for the interior parts, so let's clear this out so I can work a little easier in here. Time to hit it with some color. Alright, now we're to the point where we're going to do our engine insulation. We're going to use our old insulation as a template, and for this project I will be using 3/4 inch Dynamat. I like this engine insulation because it does have sticky backing, so we can stick it right onto our freshly painted surface and it should adhere nicely. So we'll go ahead and get this laid out and put our template on top. Alright, as you can see, looks like we got our template pretty well matched up. I got all the holes marked, but I'm not going to cut them out until I actually line it up on the car and make sure that everything is where I want it to be. So we'll do the hole cutting there because this can move around, so we want to make sure that everything is kosher and how we want it, and then we'll cut it out as we go and mount it. But other than that, it looks like that can go, and this can go in. Guys, I'm here for you. Let's start with the hood.
After this episode of Home Shop Swap is finished and you're looking for more Fiero videos to watch, then why don't you check out FieroKyle? He has a lot of good how-to videos that are fun to watch. Another fun Fiero building channel to check out is Rear Engine Shop. He has a Fiero collection and a garage that we all wished we had. Also, I strongly recommend watching AlalonKing. His Fiero videos are some of the most enjoyable and well-edited videos I've seen. They are fun and funny. Check them out. Why am I promoting other Fiero channels? Because we all share the same passion for the same car. There is no need to compete, so why not carry each other? Now back to the show.
Looks like we are ready to swap out the clutch pedal and manual brake pedal for the automatic brake pedal. We're also going to swap out this steering column with the one from the blue car, not necessarily because the one in the blue car was an automatic, because it's not. It's actually a manual transmission steering column that was converted to an automatic, but because this one actually has some separation in the turn signal stock that we want to try and just remedy by swapping out the whole steering column. So it's just going to be easier to do it that way. But to answer any questions on can you use a manual transmission steering column in an automatic car, yes you can. You just have to change out some components for the parking brake lock. And the only difference really is you'll have a push finger key lock that's normally on the manual transmissions that is not necessarily on the automatics. But let's dive into swapping out our pedals and changing out the steering column, and we are ready to start putting automatic parts back in. And what I was talking about was this is the separation where, you know, I don't want to have to mess with the wire, this looseness here, so I'm just going to change out the whole steering column because why not, I've got another one. We got a clutch pedal. Clutch pedal assembly. Last but not least, the brake pedal. All we gotta do now is I'm gonna clean up the inside here, and then we're gonna start putting some automatic parts back in. So it appears we have a aftermarket realistic speaker upgrade, which realistically is not going to be a part of the future of this car. So, like Radio Shack, these are going away. Yeah. And as for the factory speakers, we are not staying factory. We have bigger and better ideas for the sound system in this car. And they do not include a factory anything. We're almost ready to put the engine insulation in. We just have to make one modification to the engine compartment. We're going to be using a custom 3.5 inch cold air intake that we're going to run through where the old air box used to be. And it almost fits in the last car, but I did have to shave it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this opening a little bit bigger for our custom intake. And then from there, should be ready to put the engine insulation in. So let's go ahead and measure that up and do it. This is just going to be a rough in, because it doesn't have to be an exact science, just needs a little more space. And this is about where it was in the other car. Alright, I think we're ready for some insulation here. This is exciting. This is actually a first stage of assembling. Well, we're ready to start the automatic conversion. First on the list is the parking brake lockout cable. So we'll go ahead and put this in. Well, we got our park lockout cable installed and it's clipped down. All we gotta do now is install our automatic shifter. We'll go ahead and bolt that down. And when we bolt it down, we want to line it up with the previous marks so that everything is right where it needs to be. Alright, now we're going to install our lockout cable. And next we're going to install the shift cable. Make sure you don't lose this locking key though. It is a directional cable, so it only goes on a certain way. And be careful clipping it in if it's an old cable, because sometimes you can break these little clips off. And then you're going to stick it through the big hole, out of the 3 holes. Hand it off to the person in the engine compartment. Thank you. You're welcome. Guys, I'm taking the hood to sand it down. I'll be back for some other panels. So this is the only cameo I get. Mail. Well, there's your automatic transmission cooler hard lines. Got more parts coming. Maybe you'll see me again. Alright. Let's get these things opened up. Stretched out. Wow. Alright, so we're just going to unbend it here. Everything else should be pretty much where it's supposed to be. So we're going to stretch this out now. Time to put the pedal in. Alright, we got the steering column in. We're going to convert this to an automatic. Real simple process. I'll go through real fast. So this is the one that was in the car. These are the connectors for the manual steering column. As you can see, where are the rods? Rods come down and all that. So the only difference for the automatic conversion is up in here. We're going to have the automatic park lock cable as opposed to the manual not having that. So we've got these two components here that are going to work as a switch. In the automatic, right here, there's a little slot. That's where this is going to go, and that goes in first. So we're going to take our screws out. We're going to line this up with this hole here. Stick that on. It's 8mm. Snug that up nice. This is going to go in here, like so. We'll have this additional bolt that will bolt both those down. Alright guys, that does it for me. Car has been officially converted to an automatic. I'm out. I'm going to go work on some sewing. If you need me for anything else, just give me a holler. Other than that, good luck everyone, and I'll be back soon with some interesting stuff. Alright, so we got our transmission cooler lines unfolded, looking fantastic. But with the transmission cooler lines and the battery relocation kit, I'm going to run them the best I can from behind. I don't want to lift up the front just yet and change the balance of the car, so I'm going to wait until I get the engine in the car. I'll lower that down and then just bring the whole thing up together. That way I'm not shifting anything and making it unstable. So first up, we're going to do the transmission cooler lines, then we'll move on to the battery relocation. Well, the transmission lines aren't clearing the cross member. I knew that was going to be an issue. I figured I'd try it anyway, but this has to come out anyway. I'm not too broke up about it because I'm going to do the battery relocation, and it's just a lot easier to cut this when it's out. So it's a twofer. And since it's out, I'll probably just clean up this area a little bit more. So now let's run our transmission lines. Alright, I've got the measurements for our battery relocation kit measured out. I put tape down to make it easier to see my markings. So we're going to go ahead and cut this out and get it back in the car. Alright, so we've made our cutouts for our battery relocation kit. It's looking good, but I have to say, seeing a little bit of rust here. You ever have one of those projects where you take things apart and you find more and more, and then you just gotta do it right? This is one of those moments. I feel like I should clean this up and just fix the rusts. Clean it up, paint it maybe. Let's see. Let's try to work that out. Alright, that's a little bit better. Bend the lines. So if you want to know how to do a battery relocation kit, I've got a YouTube video on that. I'll leave a link in the description below. Or you can check out my channel and see what other videos I got. Alright, I'm just going to bind this on and we'll be good. battery relocation cables are going in next. Alright, so the engine compartment's pretty much prepped. We've got our shift cable, throttle cable, air conditioning lines, brake boosters, heater core, fuel lines. We've got our guards up. This is my custom trans cooler line for the trans cooler I'm going to do on the passenger side scoop. We've got our newly installed but still needs a few more touch-ups, transmission lines. So all that stuff we can kind of get together as we're getting it together. So let's keep going. Alright, now it's time to get the engine in. So, we are ready to get the engine in the car. And for that, we are going to just bolt it up and hook up the basic necessities to get it to start. Once we know it starts and run, then we'll go ahead and start finalizing all the hookups and everything. As you can see, I've got the engine hoist already prepped to go. So all we gotta do is bolt this thing in. Let's go for it. Oh, moment of truth. It's always a little nerve-wracking, but I'm excited. This is the first time this car will run since episode 2, over a year ago. Let's see how it goes. Nothing's exploded yet. Fuel pump did prime. Well, it's good to learn something new every day. So, the car didn't start on my first attempt. I found that it's actually a slight wiring difference between the automatic transmission and the manual transmission, even in the body's wiring harness. So on this connector here, there is a purple wire that actually starts out yellow on the steering column. This wire right here is the ignition switch wire. This is what tells the starter to start from the steering column. And at some point during the routing process, the wire turns purple, which is this really thick purple wire here before it goes into the engine compartment. And then it routes to about right here where it goes into the bulkhead, and we get to our wiring harness. Now on the automatic transmission, for the park neutral switch, the wire goes right here. And in this one it's blank. Looking at the manual transmission harness, it looks like the pin actually is the second one in the middle. There's 3. It's the one in the middle. So I have to either move this pin down here, or in the engine harness, move what is to be the yellow wire from down, what would be down here, up here. And that's what I'm going to do, is I move the pin from right here to, and it's going to go right here. So I'm going to do that, plug it in, and see if it starts. I tried to move the wire that runs from the ignition to the trans-neutral switch on the engine harness because it didn't line up with the harness for the car, And in doing so, I was able to get the pin out, but I had a heck of a time trying to get the pin into the new slot on the engine harness side. So I pulled on it with needle nose pliers to try and get it to come through, and it wouldn't come through, and I ended up snapping it. So I've got other harnesses that I pulled 2 other pins from, and just based on the condition of those pins, I just didn't feel comfortable the longevity of them, so I had to go a different route. So what I did was I spliced in a new wire that I cut from one of my old harnesses, and on the 2.8 engine Fiero engine harness, they have a wire that bridges 2 posts down here. On the 3800, at least with my wiring setup, I only need 1 post, leaving the other post blank. So what I did is I spliced in a wire from the engine harness and a wire from the car harness, and I kind of used that as the connecting point. Now when I get this all finalized and the test started, I know it works, I'm going to tuck this all away and make it look more factory than aftermarket, which I was really hoping to keep this looking more factory, but it'll look good, I promise. But now that we got this positioned, let's go in and see if we can get this thing to start once again. Alright, well, you can't get it right the first time every time, so hopefully second time's a charm. We'll just start for a quick second just to make sure it runs, and then we'll go on and assemble everything and finalize it. Alright. Well, that does it for episode 5 of my 8-part series. Now that we know the engine is running, we're going to go ahead and finalize all the hookups, and then from there we'll move on to customizing the interior and finishing up the bodywork. Stay tuned for the next couple episodes. I'm excited to see how this turns out. I hope you are too. Please like, share, subscribe, and see you in the next episode.
On the next episode of Home Shop Swap, we'll see if interior ideas pan out or fall flat. We will finally get a good look at the quality of Mr. Mike's seat covers. Body Guy starts diving into body changing ideas. Big Boss Man works to finalize the engine installation. If you enjoy these videos or the Fiero how-to videos, then give us a like and share the videos with others. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.